Hmm.
Guys, what's up? Welcome to a special edition, a little offshoot of Matt Men Podcast. Today, it's myself and MG Geek. We're going to be talking about the card for Full Gear tonight. We're going to take your questions. We're going to do our predictions, and we're going to do a little bit of rock and roll. So crack a cold one if you have one. It's about noon o'clock on a Saturday. My name is Rich Stambiolian. Welcome to Matt Men, and with me today is the original Wet Bandit, MG Geek. What's going on?
Yo, what's up, man? How are you?
I am doing not too bad. I perked up as soon as we were live. I was about to fall
I get
asleep.
to I get to come out of Andrew's basement today and show my face.
It looks like
And
you're sitting on a throne. You're sitting on like an old timey throne in Andrew's basement. Does the yellow cord
yes,
behind you flush the toilet?
that's it. That's it. Yeah, actually.
Just don't tug on it, man. It took us a while to go live today. All right, so let's get started with the show. Um, the Full Gear show, actually. Let's run through our predictions. So decent lead up to the show. How do you feel? Do you
Yeah.
feel like Dynamite and Rampage have been lacking a little bit? Do you feel like the build has been lackluster from the chatter I see on social media? It seems like a lot of folks are kind of like semi disinterested in this,
Mhm.
especially I think with the whole Twitter thing going on where like it's distracting people from wrestling, is they're very worried their Twitter accounts are going to shut down and explode.
Yeah, Twitter's meltdown had something to do with uh, everybody this week's got everybody feeling some kind of way. Everybody had to get their thoughts in before the world exploded, I think.
Mm-hmm.
um, I I'm the build of this card's been pretty cool, I think. I have no idea. We'll get to it, but I have no idea what to think about this main event. How they're positioning MJF is very intriguing, but we'll
It
get
is very
into it.
intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's very intriguing, and I hate bringing up the media scrum and all that stuff from the
Mhm.
last pay-per-view because that's
Yeah.
kind of like really tied into like what this should have been, right? So let's get started. 0 Hour AEW World Title Eliminator semifinal, Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage. I think Starks needs this win.
I think you're right. I think it's fine. I think he's fine. I'm just trying to think of this. Yeah, Brian Cage is kind of flat, don't you think? Mm,
I think his return was I don't know. Like I don't know how I feel about that whole situation. I don't know what went on. Was he sick? Did
mhm.
something happened in his personal life? I'm not 100% clear on that. But the way he was brought back was just they didn't give him like a build, whereas like when they did what was the original AEW pay-per-view? The joint one that had everybody on it. That was all in, right?
The one that had all the ROH stuff too. Is that what you're talking about?
No, yeah, it had Okada on the card and Rey Mysterio, like the very first
Oh,
thing, the bet with Dave
all out,
Meltzer. Yeah,
all in,
all in.
all in.
It was
Okay.
all in, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Mm. He
you
was a
know,
big thing then. Yeah.
exactly. So like
Mhm.
everybody wanted a piece of Brian Cage, and that was like maybe like 3 years ago, right? And then like
Mhm.
his star was really shining,
We
and the
came
Team
off of
Taz stuff was
Lucha
good.
Underground, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the Team Taz stuff was really good. And then all of a sudden, like whatever happened. He was gone for a while, and then he kind of got brought back like inauspiciously, just very like randomly, and now he's here. Um, I think the smart money's on Ricky Starks. Like he needs the win. I don't think a loss is going to hurt Brian Cage right now.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm with you there. I think we're both on
Yeah.
Starks. Okay. This next
Uh,
match is kind of a boner match.
oh, absolutely. Eddie Kingston
Mm,
versus Jun Akiyama. I love how I want this trend to keep up. I want every AEW pay per view to have Eddie Kingston fighting a heralded Japanese wrestler. This is on the last
I'm
pay
the
per view. It was Kingston and the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
that made me excited.
oh, great match. I think we're gonna get more of the same on this tonight. I'm going with Kingston. I don't mind seeing Kingston beating like the Japanese guys that he always wanted to wrestle on like a large platform.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. And so I heard someone else say this. 0 Hours becoming Eddie Kingston's show. He seems
Oh
to be
yeah.
the big star on it. So put it on free, let Eddie do his thing, and then sell some pay-per-view buys. Mm. And yeah, so I think June's going to take this one. You have Kingston, so
Okay.
mm, mm,
Next
yeah.
match on the 0 hour card is the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta versus Rocky Romero, a very evil, very mysterious partner, versus the Factory, QT Marshall, Cole Carter, Lee Johnson, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solo. Okay, I'm sorry. So it's an 8 man.
It's 10-man.
It's a 10 man. It's a 10 man tag. Okay.
5-on-5, yeah. Mm,
This is. I feel like I love a lot of guys in this match. I feel like this is just like a New Japan style time filler. You know, like that
yeah.
style of booking where
This
it's
might
like,
be the
you know
opener.
what? Let's get everybody on the
Mm,
card. Let's have some fun with these opening matches. I think it's
warm up
going
the
to be the
crowd.
warm up the crowd. I
Mm.
think it's going to be the Best Friends.
Oh, yeah. It has to be. It's just to get everybody going. That's what the Factory and QT Marshall, that's what he's there for. It's just to be fodder for, like, people coming up, get people
Yeah,
over.
absolutely.
Mm,
I think
so,
I think these guys definitely took a hit, the Factory, since Cody left, because when Cody was around, he was getting his guys on TV. You know, he was getting QT Marshall on
oh, yeah.
TV. He was
Well,
getting,
they were part of
Lee
the
Johnson,
Codyverse.
Camarado. Yeah, they were part of the
Mhm.
Codyverse. And now that he left, they're kind of fell by the wayside. I'm not even sure if they're on Dark or Elevation because like I don't really keep up
They
with those
are.
shows,
They're all
sadly.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
are, yeah. Mhm. I just don't I
So
don't I don't get a chance to watch it as much, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. There's so much wrestling, dude.
Mhm. Got yeah, oh, yeah. Alright.
And what's next?
Main card. I'm gonna run into this. So
Yeah, absolutely.
so on the main card, um, my personal I can't believe this match is happening match, Sting and Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, like, in 2022.
It's wild, man. I think Jeff Jarrett is truly the one who's traveling between wrestling dimensions because we mentioned this on the main Matt Men show, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, where it's like, wait, wasn't he just signed as a producer with WWE? And then
Yeah.
he did like
Mhm.
Ric Flair's last match. He still owns GFW, and I think which still has their roster page up, by the way. And now he's somehow involved with AEW dressed like a hillbilly Undertaker almost. I mean, if you saw him on Wednesday, you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Sting, dude. It's
Mhm.
Sting and Darby all the way.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the video they did on, Dynamite this week?
Oh yeah,
The
very
Sting
cool.
and Darby where he's in the car, he's like, "It's showtime." I was like, "That's pretty cool." Uh,
I love that moment, and I also wish he said mucho respecto.
uh,
So
um,
what? God.
no, go ahead. I don't have any more on that.
Next up, steel cage match: Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus. My prediction, sadly to say, was who cares. I like both guys. I'm personally done with this storyline. It has done nothing to grab me. I feel like
It's
separating
just
them.
flattened out. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Mm.
like putting Christian with them was awesome, right? Like Marco Stunt exiting, Christian coming in, great trios
See,
right there.
Christian's the problem for me. Christian's the issue I have with this. It's just it it's like it's about him and not about those two, and that's kind of the issue. It's like and they had to pivot because Christian got hurt, so kind of Luchasaurus is his proxy, I guess, and it's just kind of you're right, it is a little flat, but I think Jungle Jack wins. So
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna
and,
go. I'm gonna go Jungle Boy also. You know what I really liked
okay,
about this when Jungle Boy went off the rails in his promos and was just get like angry Jungle Boy.
yeah.
You know,
See
I
that
really
helped.
like that.
That
That
yeah,
stuff was really cool. Like
maybe
he was
maybe we're
calling
gonna get
everybody the P word.
maybe he's coming off the top of that cage tonight. You and I have seen that cage in person, and
Oh
that is
yeah,
one monster structure they put for Full Gear, or I mean AEW has. So,
yeah, big
and
cage.
so I one of those guys is coming off the top. It'll be quite the spectacle.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Mhm.
We had a comment here from Dave D, friend of the show. Do you guys don't you guys think that Darby has lost mad steam?
Mm.
I'm gonna
Uh,
I'm gonna say
eh,
no because he's paired with Sting, and I feel like
yeah,
in
it's
some way,
well they
it's
had
great.
Sting off TV, And that's
Yeah.
the issue with a lot of these AEW guys is you see them for several weeks and then they take them off to get other stories
Mhm.
on or to kind of mix it up a little bit. So there's that. But
I don't think he's lost
yeah,
too much steam just because, like, yeah, he's paired with Sting and all the stuff he does is pretty cool. So it seems like they keep him safe a little bit, you know? Do I think
yep,
he should be in a better
agreed.
position? Absolutely.
Mm, I think he will be. I think he'll. It's only a matter of time
Mhm.
for it. You know, we're going to see some of these guys moved around too with this ROH stuff happening. You know, if they ever get a TV show, so there'll be more
Yeah.
space for some of these guys too. Mm,
I do think that a lot of what we see on AEW could be considered a holding pattern, especially with the ROH stuff, because
hmm
you're putting a lot of concentration on a gigantic roster. You know, for example, like, Bandito and Ethan Page had a great match the other night, right? If you're gonna
Oh
put
yeah,
two
they did.
dudes, if you're gonna put two dudes on that ROH roster, those are great picks for it. I also think that between you, myself, and Andrew, we should do an episode where we actually do the ROH draft with the full AEW roster.
Oh, that'd be clever. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I know. Simmer
All
down
right.
now. uh, Up next, we got Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Saraya, and
What do you?
I,
Yeah.
this is a tough one for me. You know why? I kind of feel like they're gonna call the ending in the ring. I don't know why I have that feeling. I feel like if Saraya pulls the trigger and says, "Hey, I'm feeling great," she'll take the win.
hmm
If something happens during the match and she gives Britt the icky, Britt's gonna take the win. You know, because I feel like
Yeah.
they need to do a little something like that because unfortunately the track record of AEW big time matches has resulted, and this is a weird thing too, has resulted in a lot of injuries to new champs, right? Or to new defenders of whatever. So for example, the CM Punk stuff, um, whoever got stripped of the other titles, it was due to injury. Whoever got buried, not buried, but like whoever had to leave because of an injury after like a big time match. Like this is a big time match, like I think people
hmm
aren't really I think it hasn't sunk in just how big this match is. Like I would put it up there with like Daniel Bryan's return match or Edge's return match,
Oh, it is big from that. Oh yeah.
from that
She's a
perspective.
big star. Yeah.
But
So well, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no,
Finish your
no,
thought.
please, please, please.
Okay. No, so I'm confused on this because do you beat her in her debut? But Britt Baker seems like they're going with the direction of Jamie Hayter. When we get to that match, if
Mhm.
Jamie Hayter wins, feels like there's a story there between her and Britt that needs to be told. So
I honestly
I'm
think that's a
confused.
stretch. I
Yeah,
think that's a stretch.
I
I
don't.
think if you give
Okay.
the win to either women tonight,
hmm
it's okay. I don't
All
think
right.
the loss is gonna hurt Britt Baker. I don't think the loss is gonna hurt Saraya. Like it's one of those weird things where you could have some kind of double turn, which I think is coming. I do think. Picture this. This is the scenario. I'm predicting the match tonight. You ready?
Okay, got it.
Long, drawn out match. Good match. Solid. Little bloody. Kind of violent. Right?
hmm
Britt wins by a hair. Right?
Okay. All right.
Saraya's crying in the ring. She's a great crier. Remember that. She's crying in the
Oh,
ring. She's holding her side, doing like the Hogan.
and,
You know,
and then she
Britt is over.
snaps.
Britt is overwhelmed. The crowd's going crazy because the crowd loves it. Britt offers the hug and the handshake. They do the hug and the handshake, and then all of a sudden, Saraya snaps to a level where she just pummels Britt Baker, and the crowd turns on her.
You know what? I don't hate that.
I think it's time for that Britt Baker like face turn. You know,
Okay. All right.
like full blown face turn because that promo she cut on Wednesday was very very fiery
It
and very
was.
passionate.
Yeah. It made me. I actually said that. Is she the face here? I think I tweeted that out. So
I think we're looking
good
at a
point.
turn.
Good point.
You know.
Okay. Mm,
All right, let's
mm.
see what else we got here. We got the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. I think Jade's gonna retain. I think they're gonna feed her
Yeah.
Nyla to make her look like more of a monster.
This is another one of those stories that just doesn't do it for me. Hey, I stole your
Mm.
title, and I'm gonna keep figuring out how to like keep the title, and it's just like, come on, uh, you know,
Yeah,
Jade should
and
just move on to
also,
something else. Hmm.
well, I think also like Jade, regardless of having the title, she is such a amazing like work in progress where you're getting to see her evolve as a performer. Um,
Hmm.
and she looks so dynamite with that. Like that's a presence. That is a giant presence. I definitely think she retains. And then who's going to be next? Who knows? I think they're going to end up having a male competitor challenger, and then she's going to beat whoever that is.
Interesting. Okay.
Kind of like go the China route. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like
She's
QT
she's
Marshall
strong
or
enough
something.
to pull it off. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody
uh,
that's like QT Marshall, somebody like that, or what's his name? Brandon, the cameraman.
oh, Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, Brandon Collar.
That could be interesting.
We
uh,
also have I'm looking forward to this match: TNT Championship, Wardlow versus Samoa Joe
me
versus
too.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Who do you think is going to take it?
I think it's going to be Hobbs. They've been pushing him, getting him ready. I think it's time. Give that guy a little bit of a push, and then the story can be that Wardlow and Joe um, cost each other the
Mhm.
belt, and then Wardlow goes after Samoa Joe's title. Uh, I'm not. I'm kind of. I mean, I'm kind of wondering why they just didn't put the both titles up here, but I guess they have a plan.
Yeah, they definitely have a plan. This could go either way. I also wish that instead of Warjo, their tag team name was Jordlow, but that's just me.
Mm,
That's where I come from.
of course, of course.
Um, so I listen. I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan. I got to pick up that Samoa Joe T-shirt that he's rocking, which is dope. As much as I want Joe to win and have both belts, so he can
Mhm.
call himself Joey Two Belts, I think it's gonna be Wardlow, and that's gonna transition into a feud with Hobbs, right? And I think
Okay.
Joe is gonna be bound for more ROH stuff. Like I think he should be put into that title picture somehow,
On the main title on ROH?
on the yeah, for the ROH title.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think he will get there. Um, it's it's just so hard. They have so many titles they're trying to
Mm.
keep hot, and between ROH and AEW. So I think that's I yeah, I like that. I
A-
like Joe specifically pushing on the ROH brand.
And speaking of that, the next match we don't know the order, but like on our sheet here, the ROH World Championship: Chris Jericho versus Daniel Bryan versus Claudio Castagnoli, and the Sammy versus Sammy Guevara. Imagine again, just because I'm a fanboy, I can fanboy out here. If you threw Joe into this match, it would fit perfectly, right?
Oh yeah. Mm,
So this is tough. I think Jericho is going to retain with shenanigans, and you get a Sammy. He turns on Sammy to win, basically.
okay. Did you
I think
see Rampage last night?
I did not.
Okay. There was a segment at the
Mhm.
beginning where Jericho's on commentary, and Tony Schiavone goes, "Hey, I did an interview with I did your interview earlier. We recorded it, and I just want you to know what Sammy said after you left, or what hit. Look at his reaction." So Sammy
Mhm.
basically was very upset that Jericho said he knows he'll do the right thing, and then he walked away,
Mhm.
and Sammy had this disgusted look on his face. So I think there's going to be some shenanigans there.
Yeah.
I think that's leading to Sammy face turn again, because if you've noticed, Tay hasn't been around, and I
Yes.
think that would be a good idea to get them apart from each other and take their relationship off screen again, because
I agree with that.
and make him more of a face again, because I think he's definitely one of the futures. And I wouldn't mind seeing him win this, to be honest with you.
See, I
Mm,
don't think that's going
so
to
that's
happen because of what's going
eh,
on with like the
yeah.
possible TV deal. What I think is going to go down. What's Sammy's finisher?
Oh, that GT something. I
Oh
can't
yeah, yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
GTH. that it?
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think this is going to be a hell of a match. I think it's going to come down to Sammy having Daniel Bryan's number, right?
Uh,
Sammy's
okay.
about to get the pin, and Jericho interrupts, does like a double backwards elbow, one to Sammy, one to Daniel Bryan, and he retains.
Okay. I'll go with that. I'm still gonna stick with Sammy just to be different, but
Okay.
all right.
Sure.
This next match.
Uh,
Oh.
yeah, let's go for it, man. What's the next match?
AEW World Trios Championship. Death Triangle versus the Elite, the returning Elite. I don't know about you, but they got to. So Death Triangle is never supposed to hold these titles. I think that Tony
Exactly.
Khan is going to steer the ship back and put it back on the Elite and go back with
Mhm.
whatever his plan was in the beginning. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I think the Elite, it's going to be a hell of a match, and I think the Elite get those titles back so you can see them on TV again. Now, the other question
Mhm.
is, like, what's up with the CM Punk stuff? I hate talking about it. For some reason,
Mhm.
I am so soured on the guy after this whole thing,
Yeah.
and I don't even
Mhm.
know what happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just like the aura and the presence and like those little pitter patterings of things you hear from the
Well,
backstage stuff, like that. I don't want to say it drove me nuts, but as a fan, I'm just kind of like, yo, who cares? And I say this almost every week. Millionaires acting like
uh-oh.
crybabies, you know?
Uh-oh.
What's the matter? What'd you do? Did you do something?
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm back. Hang on.
All right. Did you freak out? Are you freaking out right now?
I froze. Hang on. Okay, I think I'm back.
All right.
I'm still frozen. Hang on. I'll be
Guys,
right back.
are we coming in nice and loud and clear? Oh boy. Anyway. Yeah, I think much like the rest of you, I am very sick of this whole CM Punk situation. Um, but it lends to interesting stuff, I guess, because everything's kind of scrambled and this is sort of like a reset for everybody. Um, and I do think the Elite should have these titles because I do think at the end of the day, the AEW crowd is extremely happy when they see the Elite on TV. You can't help but love them. You can't help but be interested by them. And I know a lot of folks in my personal life that are wrestling fans who will have kind of like this double edge sentiment towards them where they go, "Oh boy, I hate the Young Bucks, but you know what? I effing love the Young Bucks." Or I don't get what's so great about Kenny Omega. And then they'll go, "Man, isn't Kenny Omega the best?" So the three of those guys have that interesting mystique about them. And I think that lends itself to them flipping between heel and face like pretty seamlessly, and that's kind of like the hallmark of a great wrestler, you know. MG Geek, are you back?
I am back. I
There we
apologize.
go.
Whatever
No, no,
happened.
no. That's cool.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me finish my statement.
For you could
Uh,
ramble on.
I can
Mm,
ramble on. The next
mhm.
match on the card, AEW World Tag Team Championship, The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. I'm kind of done with this feud, and I want The Acclaimed to put the nail in the coffin in this feud.
Yeah. Well, I think the big story is going to be Swerve and Swerve and oh gosh, Keith Lee
Yeah.
probably splitting up here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you enjoy the rap video that they made on for Wednesday night?
Oh, yes, I did.
That was
That was
great.
a lot of fun.
It felt like I was watching The
Mm,
Box in like 1997. I don't know if you
mm.
remember. I don't know if you had that in Michigan. Have you been in Michigan your whole life?
I've lived in Michigan my whole life. Yeah, I've been
Okay.
out of state a few times, but
So yes
yeah.
is the answer. Um
Mm.
so we had this thing in New York called The Box where on Saturday nights at like a weird like at 10 o'clock at night, let's say, it was just like an hour of like hip hop videos. Half an hour to an hour of like straight up like weird hip hop videos, good videos and bad videos. and it was all grainy. And the video that they put out on Wednesday reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And that made me think, like, they're definitely going to win. And you're going to get that split between Swerve and Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think they've definitely been setting that up. I just, the Acclaimed are so good. Everybody, that this whole act is over, though. That's a thing. The Scissor Me Daddy act is over. So I don't think this goes away anytime soon. So definitely it's going to be the Acclaimed for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go for the Acclaimed. Interim AEW World Championship. Tony Storm versus Jamie
Women's.
Hayter. Listen. Huh? I'm sorry. AEW Women's World Championship. Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter. Listen, I'm not alone in this. We all win. We all win. I'm not even going to go into why, but we all win. And I think Tony Storm's going to retain.
Mm-hmm. I think you're. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Jamie Hayter here, just because I think that Britt Baker. This is where that flip happens with Britt and Jamie. So just
why,
to be
though?
different, I'll go with Jamie.
Tell me why.
Because a lot of that's just going to have to do with what happens with the Saraya Britt match. However, they position whoever gets positioned at. I think there's a jealousy thing there. Britt, because Britt brought her in and she wants the title. So she ends up still being a heel coming out of that match. She'll want to face off with whoever's going to be the champion, and when it's her friend, that's where it gets intriguing. So I think Jamie Hayter might take it here. She's very over. The crowd loves her. She can't do anything wrong. So I think it would be a great story. That's where you start this thing off.
Do you think they're going to have some kind of like British wrestling connection between Jamie Hayter and Saraya?
Not necessarily. I think Saraya will stay separate of it for a minute. I mean, she could be a obviously I would love to if I'm Tony Khan at some point I would like to get the title on Saraya if she's physically able to handle that workload. So we'll see.
Absolutely. I think Britt Baker's due for another title run at some point within the next 6 months as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
So these matches,
I think that story. There's a story there that can be told, and Tony's there too. So I mean, if Tony wins, then you got the other one. What if it's Saraya, or one of these other? And also, at some point, they got to pull the trigger on Jade Cargill. So she figures into this at some point too.
I'm going to disagree with that. I think
Okay.
I think Tony Storm should retain this title for as long as she can, because unlike and I'll be honest here, unlike a lot of that roster, she has this like really impactful presence. Yes, everybody could do the moves, but she can talk on the mic. She has this look about her, and she has this like really sharp in ring that I think sets her apart from everybody. And plus, you still have the Thunder Rosa thing, so like I think the end game is a Tony Storm Thunder Rosa rematch.
Okay.
Do I want Jade Cargill in the main women's title picture? I don't, not yet. But
okay, so that's another
what
thing.
If you what if you get Saraya? I
totally forgot about Thunder Rosa.
Right. What if you get Saraya taking that title from Jade Cargill? That makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. So she's going to be the one to break the streak. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think if you're going to have somebody break that large streak, it's got to be somebody like very notable,
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Let's see here. This is good. Yeah. Dave D is agreeing with us. And have Regal as the manager for Saraya and Jamie Hayter. How awesome would that be?
Oh, that would actually be pretty cool.
And then you have Nigel McGuinness show up somehow.
All the British. Okay, you want to go into this main event?
Oof. AEW World Championship. Three-time champion, right? Three-time champion Jon Moxley versus MJF, who I believe has never held a belt in AEW.
He has not. And they told the story that MJF tried once and he got his ass handed to him,
Mhm.
and now he's going to try to do it straight and narrow. This has me all kinds of torn up. I don't know about you, but
You
I
said
feel
torn up?
like yeah, torn up because I have
I thought
no
you said
idea
porn
what.
up. You were like,
Well,
"Yo,
that's
porn up, brother." Poured up, my brother.
oh my.
Let's
We had
go
to
into it
get
because,
weird.
like, let's go
Yeah.
into this. So we can spend. So this is like our Saturday morning show. We're having fun. We're talking
Mhm.
owl things, professional wrestling. Let's go into this like kind of in depth. Why are you torn up about this?
So so they're obviously positioning MJF like he wants to turn face, like they're making him uh feel like he cares and like he's got a conscience and he's I think he's playing everybody though. At the end
Mhm.
of the day, somehow oh what's the faction? Can't think of the faction's name. Stokely Hathaway's the firm.
Firm, yeah.
Somehow they're going yeah, somehow they're going to get back involved in this and they're going to
Mhm.
actually be in cahoots. And halfway through the match you're going to see that shit-eating grin on MJF's face and it's going to be him saying oh yeah, it was all a swerve and I'm really still an asshole and I'm going to cheat to win even though I told them I won't. Uh
Yeah,
that's
I feel like
that's where I
that's
think I'm leaning. Mhm.
there are so many levels to this match as far as a wrestling fan
Yeah.
goes, and it's kind of it's fun to do like quote unquote wrestling analysis. And you know what?
Mm,
How I always feel about this is one of the reasons why we don't take this as seriously as a lot of people do is that we're analyzing fiction, which is awesome.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like this is all fiction. It's there's not no bearing on our personal lives. But this is one of those fun matches where you're like, "Oh, what are the outcomes? Like where are they going to go with this because everybody's so invested into this storyline." And not for nothing, everybody loves John
Right.
Moxley. Like even if you don't like the guy, you get it on a certain level. Same thing with MJF. Even if you don't like a guy, you get it on a certain level. And he has the in-ring ability, but his promos are for such a young dude, his promos are wildly unmatchable by 90% of that AEW roster. And I also think like when the veterans see this guy talk, they go, "Holy shit, like I got to step up my talking game."
Mhm.
Mox is great on the mic.
Yeah.
He's great on the mic. With Regal in Mox's corner, it's great. Now, here's
So
one
that's the
outcome.
other part of this. Yeah. Okay, go ahead,
Right.
'cause I think I know where you're
So
going with this.
I
Mm,
like your prediction and possible outcome of the firm. He just lies through his teeth. The firm saves him, right?
mhm.
Here's the other situation where William Regal turns
Yeah, I was
on
gonna
John
say this is the
Moxley
other mhm.
because this is one of the I mentioned this on the main show a couple of weeks ago. They mentioned the original feud that Mox and Regal had in FCW, which
They
is
did.
like
Yeah, but that's
it's
the whole
it's a
cornerstone of this whole thing.
right, and it's
Mhm.
such a crazy thing because when like I was watching it when that happened and was blown away by it, and I barely
Mhm.
knew who John Moxley was, and Dean Ambrose, right? But the fact that they're mentioning this thing that's like what, like 11 years old or like 12 years old
Mhm.
on television to get this match over is amazing to me. And they keep consciously talking about the similarities between a young Moxley and a young
Yep.
MJF.
Mhm.
I do kind of feel like Regal's going to turn on Mox and he's going to say, "Listen, I'm a gentleman villain. You've had your time. You're a 3-time champ. F you." And it's
Here's a
like it.
strange story.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was gonna say,
It
what
adds
if
to the
at the end of the
story.
day yeah, what at the end of the day, somehow MJF aligns himself with the Blackpool Combat Club? There's a I
I
mean,
don't think that's gonna
mm,
happen because he's
I
not
don't
like,
either, but it's just a thought, it's like doing those weird, like, God, I wonder if that would work.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, this they just built so many layers to this, man. I'm loving it. So it's at the end of the day, I think we're going to be very surprised what they do tonight.
Mhm.
So
I think so. Here's the
mm.
other outcome is, you know, do we get the CM Punk return?
Dude, I think that ship has sailed.
You think
I
so?
know you
Like that
want it, but yeah.
I
Mhm,
don't, but I'm saying like, do we get
mm,
that CM Punk return where, he let's say MJF beats Mox, shenanigans or not,
Mhm.
right? All of a sudden, Punk's music hit because that was supposed to be the feud, right? That was supposed to be the
Yes,
continuation of whatever
but
that story was.
I
What a
remember
way to
he's
end.
injured too.
Okay, but what a
Uh,
way to end Full Gear. Like let's say he's not as
yeah.
injured as people
Mhm,
thought he was, et cetera, blah 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 blah. So
mhm.
it's tough to predict this. Also, because of the Punk stuff, it put Moxley's vacation and time
I
off
was
on hold,
Yeah, yep.
right?
So now he can
So,
take it. But the only thing with that is I wonder is it
mm,
when his, 'cause now his wife works there, and she's there and she wasn't before, so I wonder if that plays
right
into this too. So, but yeah, I'm gonna say by hook or crook, MJF is gonna take this,
now,
and they're gonna.
yeah, think about that.
Mhm,
Mox loses, he gets to go on vacation. It's a good out for him,
mhm,
because he could go away for a while and then come back and say like, "Yo, I was embarrassed to lose to this guy," right?
right,
But that kind of paints you in from a booking standpoint. Wouldn't that paint you into a corner specifically because this guy has held this title 3 times already, right? Do you have him come back and win it a 4th time? Is it too soon? Are you buffing the stats of that title too much? And also, I do think Tony Khan is in love with John Moxley. Like I think he made him his guy, you know?
Well, I personally think that Moxley is MVP of the, and I've said this to you before, is he the ace of
He's
AEW? And
the ace. He is the
I
ace.
think you can roll him right back into, next year, middle of the year. You need someone to hold that title.
Mhm.
This is the most title change in 1 year that AEW has had. Um, a lot of that was circumstantial and things they had to do because
Mhm.
of injuries and you know and other stuff. But yeah, this will be if this changes tonight. This will be the fourth time because last year it changed at Full Gear with uh didn't isn't that where
Mhm.
Page won it? Adam Page won it. So mm,
Yeah,
that's
where's
what
Hangman, by
started
the
this
way?
whole thing. That's another okay. So that's another thing. Let's
Right.
let's chat about this for a second.
Yeah.
Hangman's not on the card. FTR is not on the card.
Mhm.
And there's probably some other guys I'm not thinking of that aren't on the
It's
card. Yeah.
it's such a big roster that you
Mhm.
forget what's like the, Brody King, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Andrade,
Yep. Okay.
the
So
Matt
that's
Hardy, right?
we didn't even discuss that. That's another thing.
Mhm,
The trios match at the end of the that's when I think I cut out.
mhm.
The trios match at the end of that match, there's an opportunity there. The lights go out, and the House of a reincarnated House of Black comes out and
I
challenges
love that.
who's there. And I think that's where they're going because that's going to be badass. I will love that. I
I
love
would
I love House of Black a lot, and
same here, like the
especially
Elite
adding Julia Hart to that makes it just that much more creepier. So,
versus
yeah,
House of Black, is that what you wanna see?
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so I think that would be a lot of fun. Um, mm, uh, Julia Hart possessing Brandon Cutler.
Be great.
And all the weird things
Guys,
they could do.
before we talk a little more, we want your questions. Get your questions ready. Um, I don't know if we have anything from Twitter, but get your questions ready in the chat. Shoot us the questions. We'll answer them. If you want to super chat us, we'll answer those questions first. Or if not, whatever. I'm not your dad. So it's interesting, like how it's
Mhm.
tough to put everybody on the card, you know.
Yep.
And I think one of the interesting things about the AEW roster is like there are I would say there's over 65% of the acts in AEW are over with the crowd, right?
Yes.
Now, that being said, it's okay that not a lot of these guys are on the card. It's okay that Hangman and FTR aren't on the card. Give them a rest, right?
Mhm.
But how cool would it be? Mox retains, boom, Hangman's music
Whoever's
hits.
next. Yeah, maybe that's what
You
they're
know,
gonna do. Maybe
go back to
maybe he
that.
somehow gets into this, um, or maybe he's coming out. Maybe they'll do like the New Japan did, and they'll whoever wins, their challenger comes out at the end and makes their presence felt. There's gonna have to be some
Mhm.
surprises and things we were not expecting. Um,
Yeah.
mm,
What's a
so
big what's a big return or surprise that you think would happen?
Oh, that's so. That was my one, House of Black coming at for that
Mhm.
match. That one for sure. Um, I think Hangman showing up and
Mhm.
at the end. Gosh, it's such a. I
It's
haven't
tough
gotten
because
beyond that. Yeah.
like the roster is so thick,
Mhm.
like who would be a viable contender for anything or to surprise anybody. I think the Elite coming back is interesting, and like I think the fact that they did like a WWE move where they cheated their return and told people about it was interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like well, they could have easily gone with the will challenge anybody for these trios titles on Sunday. If you have the balls or whatever. But listen, they need to sell these pay-per-views, right? So the
Mhm.
diehards want to see the Elite back together.
I wanna address this. I'm gonna start throwing some questions up, and we're gonna go through them.
Sure.
What happens to MJF if he doesn't win? Where does he go from there? From what floor? And I'm gonna say for me, I think it means there'll be a rematch. I think, and this time either. So the I was thinking this too. What if he
Mhm.
loses again and he didn't cheat and he ended up losing a tough match, and then he turns into uh, the major asshole again and
Mhm.
ends up cheating to win the next time around. Uh,
I'm
I think
honestly
I don't
like
think he's going
good.
out of the title picture anytime soon, one way or the other. Mm.
I think MJF has a 65% chance in my head of taking that title. I don't think it's 50-50. I think he's got a little more of an edge. And you know what? If if this wasn't Moxley, it would probably be Punk, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like the main event would be MJF and Punk, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I was doing something other
so I do think
stuff.
what city is it's in Newark, right?
Mhm.
I guess that's close enough to Long Island. The crowd might be really hot for MJF.
It's an hour away, hour and a half away.
It's an Newark's tricky because if there's traffic, Newark is like 3 hours away. If there's no
Mhm.
traffic, if there's no traffic, I can get to the Newark airport in about 45-50 minutes. But it's tough.
Mhm.
Like you're navigating a lot of garbage on the way. And plus New York traffic has been this is the old man portion of the show. New York traffic has been effing horrible for the last 3 months. It has
Mhm.
been disgusting. Um, that being said,
Right.
I'm starting to lean more and more towards MJF, and I think it's going to be the Regal thing, and then we'll have Mox take some time off, and then there's going to be like a cool return. But when MJF wins, who's the next guy? Who's the next guy in the roster that challenges him?
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Who
a
do you
good
think?
question. Yeah,
You know what?
gosh,
I would like him to have a small feud with Andrade to see who or Matt Hardy
there
to
you go.
who's
Mhm.
the richest
Mhm.
who's the richest guy. You know.
Um, okay.
But it's gonna be a fun show, dude. It's gonna be like a lot of fun. I think we're gonna watch it all together. We're not gonna do a watch along. I really want to do a watch
No.
along again. We're not gonna do a watch along for this one, but we will be tweeting. We will be throwing our thoughts out there. We will be interacting with everybody tonight. And this video is probably gonna be posted this afternoon, so you can watch it over and over again until the show starts. Let's do some questions. You ready?
Okay, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Who brings muffins to the media scrum?
Oh, nobody. 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 CM Punk ain't there. Nobody's eating
You
those
were supposed
muffins.
to pop. You were supposed to pop harder for that.
We're the
Uh,
muffins.
uh,
Let's see. We
yes.
got here's one from Shin. I'm gonna have a back to back from friend of the show, Shin. Question: how long before Corbin dumps JB? Can I put this on the screen or no?
Yes. Go ahead. Just go ahead and dump them up there.
Oh
Whatever you
yeah,
want.
look at that. Ooh, so classy and professional. Look at us. We're so
Mhm.
cool and charming.
Except I can't
Uh,
figure out how to take them off, so we're gonna have
I'll
to
just
leave them
replace it
on.
with the next one,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yep.
How
Yep.
long
Mhm.
before Corbin dumps JBL? This has been an AEW centric show, but listen, we'll take your WWE questions. How
He wants
long
to
do you
know if
think?
he's going to go to. He wants him to go to AEW. It's his
First
way of.
question: how long before
Mm.
Corbin dumps JBL? I'm gonna say give it 6 months. Put some kind of title on the guy. I'm not feeling those new outfits though.
No, you knew he was going to ask a Corbin question, right?
Of course, like why not? This is another one from Shin. Question: how long until Corbin goes to AEW? Never gonna happen.
I think he's a WWE for life guy.
Never gonna happen. He's a lifer.
Sorry, Shan.
Him and a lot of these guys are lifers. There was a great post that has been floating around social media the last couple of days showing Seth Rollins with the US title, Roman Reigns with both belts, and John Moxley / Dean Ambrose with the AEW title.
Yeah, yesterday was the 10th year anniversary of the Shield debut in Survivor Series. Yeah.
Not a hard word to say. Debut.
I got it.
You got it. I do think that maybe it's just me. I do think that reunion is gonna happen one day, and it's gonna blow everybody's socks off.
Yeah, when it happens, well, it's gonna be. I think. Well, didn't Moxley just sign like a 5-year deal? It's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while, but I feel like it's still you could still do a bunch of shit. Like look at that NWO reunion that happened like way after the fact, you know?
Right.
That's the fun, and like all those DX reunions. I think that's the fun thing about like popular factions in wrestling is like these guys don't have to like DX is a perfect example. These guys do not have to wrestle or anything. They could just show up and pop a crowd. And I think with the Shield, listen, Roman's still a young dude. He's probably going to be jacked for the rest of his life, you know. Although I would love in 10 years, I would like him to look like his dad, just like he's a real big, you know.
Be the WWE version of Thor, the fat Thor.
This is like a big dude, and they could still pull off that triple power bomb. You know, like you never know.
Oh, they could always pull that off.
At the end of the day, 10 years from now, you get, or like 6 years from now, right? Let's say, boom. Hey, Moxley, do you want to come back home to WWE? We'll do a little reunion. We'll give you a lighter schedule. You'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. All you got to do is do that triple power bomb with Roman. Cool, right? Jericho, another future inductee
at some point
into
I see him coming back.
Yeah,
for
Jericho
a final run. Yeah,
I think Jericho would come back too for like a last like two big matches, like one big match at WrestleMania, maybe. You know, that would be awesome. Let's see. This is from What Floor. What happens to MJF if he doesn't win? Where does he go from there?
Yeah, we answered that one earlier. Actually, we talked at depth about that one.
Well, no, I'm saying like, if he doesn't win, what does he do? Like, who feuds with him? We didn't answer that.
Like I said, I think he ends up staying in the title picture, and he takes a different approach. So let's say he wins. He tries to win clean, and he doesn't win clean on this attempt. Then he comes back and says, "I'm just going to be a dirty asshole now and take the title by cheating." So I don't know. That's kind of my thought. But
I just got very uncomfortable when you said that. By the way, dirty asshole. Please don't repeat it. I'm gonna have to talk to HR. I'm gonna have to talk to HR about this. So,
problem is, who is HR? Is that me or is that Andrew?
Wait, we don't have HR. Oh, that's right. We don't get paid.
Screwed.
We don't get paid doing this. So tonight, like, are you looking forward to the show?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's one I wanted to talk to you real quick before we take off about one thing that I predicted a couple weeks ago, and I want your thoughts on it. So there is some people that are thinking that Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Monet or whatever she's going by now, is showing up at AEW tonight, and I gotta tell you, I think she's showing up somewhere in the next 24 hours, and it's going to surprise some people. And I predicted this 2 weeks ago on Twitter. No, she's going to New Japan. She's going to go challenge whoever wins that X over tonight. So there's a New Japan pay-per-view. Starts at 3 a.m. Our time, and it's going to be the main event is Kaori versus Mayo Utani. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, for the IWGP Women's Championship. The fact they're putting the women on last tells me there's something big planned. I think it's going to be Sasha, but that's just me. And then she's going to challenge, and it'll be the first women's title match on Tokyo Dome show.
That would
that's
be
something
really,
that Sasha
really
would
cool.
do. That's something that
You
I think she wants to do. So
do you
that's
think so?
yeah, that's my big prediction. I put this out there on Twitter and I retweeted
Mhm.
it a couple times just to have a stamp saying I think this is going to happen. I could be totally wrong. I don't care if I am. It's just wrestling.
Exactly.
Mm.
What about her? Tony Storm wins. Jamie Hayter's knocked out. All of a sudden, they
That would be huge
Mikey
if she
Ruckus
shows up here.
creates
Yeah.
some kind of amazing Sasha Banks music, or
Mhm.
now you can have this because of the relationship. Tony Storm
She
wins,
could. Yeah.
right?
Oh, you're right.
Jamie Hayter
Okay.
pin. Snoop Dogg shows up and he's like, "Hey, everybody, check it out!" And then Sasha Banks comes out. It's my terrible Snoop Dogg impression, by the way.
That was kind of cheap.
um,
So that's another thing. So music tonight. So I think I would not be surprised to hear Falling in Reverse perform Soraya in live. That might be kind of cool. Um,
yeah, that might happen. Um,
well,
yeah,
did you watch Renee's podcast with her?
I did
He's
not.
never seen her wrestle, so because she's been out for so long.
Oh, okay.
So I think him being part of her presentation might be something they do. We'll see. That's my thoughts, at least.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm,
Let's take this last question and then let's
got
call
it.
it a day. This is from a friend of the show, Shin Stargin Solidus. Realistically, do you see CM Punk coming back to AEW given what all that we do know? And could we actually see Punk versus Omega, or will Punk and the Elite stay separate if he does come back?
Mm, that's
What do
a.
you think, MG? Give me your answer. You're in the hot seat.
I think some water. I think some water has to go under the bridge. I can see him coming back if they can
Mhm.
mend it, and you would have to go do that feud, right? You would have to have Omega versus Punk at some point, and they would have to obviously clean up the relationship. But yeah, uh,
What's
I
that
just think
saying? Like controversy equals cash.
yes, something like that. And yeah, everybody knows about this story now. It's 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 AEW lore at this point. You have to absolutely have to do that feud. So eh, if I'm Tony Khan and Punk wants to come back and they come to come to amends at some point. And
Mhm.
at some point, maybe that's the big thing. Maybe Omega finally gets the championship back, and then early next year sometime, or like all the way back a year later, all out. Uh, Omega wins the title, and boom, here comes CM Punk at the end of the show, and pop the crowd. That that would be interesting. But I think a lot of water needs to be go under the bridge before they get there. Mm.
I do think here's a one side of my own personal conspiracy theory. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, right?
Mhm.
Let's say there's a 3% chance Punk shows up tonight. MJF wins the title, little celebration in the ring. All of a sudden you hear Cult of Personality, the crowd pops, right?
Will they pop though, or will they boo? That's the
I
question I have
I
because
think
I
they'll
don't
pop.
know. Mhm.
I think they'll pop.
You might be right. You might be right. Mhm.
I think wrestling crowds now are a little more forgiving. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I feel like there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of Larry signs in the audience, you know. Um
Well, Larry's a champ. Larry came out of this pretty good.
Larry is a future AEW Hall of Famer. But
Mm,
let's say there's that like 1 to 3% chance Punk returns tonight right after like MJF beats Mox. Mox goes on vacation, right? Takes his time off. Boom, you get this feud, the reignition of this feud. And I will say it there should be a Punk, if it does happen, there definitely needs to be a Punk and a mega match. And I think it's because Tony Khan has this notorious booking notebook that, he's putting all his stuff together. And I do trust the guy. I think the last few weeks have been like slightly lackluster only because it's growing. It's the next step of growing pains with the Ring of Honor stuff and such a big roster. I think once this guy gets his roster in place where he wants everybody to be,
mhm.
it's going to be a different story, you know? Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, all right, what are your odds of Punk coming back tonight?
Uh, less than 1%.
All right, all right.
I mean,
That's cool.
I don't think you'll see him tonight. I know you want. I know for. I know it would be a fun story, but like I said, he's still injured. He's not going to be able to be physical.
I don't
If he
want it.
does show up,
Uh,
it will be a big talk. I think it will overwhelm. It will take emphasis out of the show again.
mhm.
And I think AEW needs a show that's tight, good, and the big stories we're talking about happened in the ring and not in a press conference or not who came back, and they desperately need that to happen. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
they need a win on this one, you know? Are they gonna
Yep.
do the post-show scrum again or not?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
another thing.
they already Tony already said they're doing it, and they've scheduled it, and people, and I think Matt Ryan might be there. I don't know if he's going to the scrum or not. I know he's going to the show. He might have got press.
Wait, did you
So
get our press passes for tonight or no?
I don't know if we did.
You were supposed to get
uh,
those press passes, MG. What happened? What
I
the
failed
F
him.
happened? All right, you wanna wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up. I think that's good. We did about an hour.
Guys,
Mhm.
thank you for tuning in. This was like a nice and tight, fun hour. Apologies for the delay, but you know what? You can catch this on YouTube. And as I say this now, and you're watching on YouTube, that's kind of redundant. Anyway, my name is Rich Stambiolian. With me, as always, on occasion, sometimes, MG Geek. What are your parting words before we get out of here?
It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to tonight. I just wanted to say we have some things coming up on the Matmen channel that are going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing more videos. We're bringing in Matt Ryan to help with like some historical stuff, doing some historical videos on the YouTube channel, and he's going to be doing his UFC, well, basically live watch along for the UFC pay per views starting December 10th. So that'll be something cool to look forward to. And we're going to be hosting those as well. And so I'll be handling that. So other than that, I'm just looking forward to tonight, dude.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to tonight. I hope you guys have fun watching it. We're going to be live tweeting. We're going to be chilling with you guys. I kind of for the next event, I kind of want to do what we did back in the day, like the Google Hangout. You know, like that was a lot of fun because we would just
It
have like our
was, but
laptop
we
cameras
had a
on us.
lot of problems with, yeah, we had a lot of problems with that. And
Well, it started getting weird
it
when dudes would
yeah,
show up in
and
their underwear and just like sit there and
yeah.
stare at us.
With
But
nipple pumps
apart from
on,
that,
that was it. That we were done with when we seen the nipple pumps.
yeah, that was weird. But we will have more content on Patreon. We're have faith in us. We're slowly going to be producing these videos and rolling out these interesting videos. I'm going to be talking to non-wrestling fans about how they feel about wrestling, and character names and stuff like that. We're going to have some fun stuff for you guys on our Patreon. We're going to release some clips at some point within the next month or so. But other than that, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Well, we'll probably see you tomorrow. Hopefully, if Andrew's feeling better, big ups to Andrew. Hope he's all right.
Oh,
I
and
know I
happy
pointed.
birthday to
Yeah.
Jess. We
And
gotta say
happy
happy
birthday
birthday
to
to Jess.
Jess Darian.
Mm,
Guys,
yeah.
thank you for
Mm.
tuning in. We will see you soon. Goodbye.